Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. Welcome to the first session of B2B Broken to Beautiful. Before we dive into today's topic, let me give you a synopsis of what you can expect throughout this series. Throughout this series, we'll be looking at various stages of brokenness where we feel that we are at as we are going through pain and heartache or trauma. So that's the broken stage. Then we are going to transition via our topics to your beautiful space, your space where you can rediscover your wholeness and to discover where your beauty lies. So there will be a series of topics that will run throughout the month, and each one will build on the other. So we go from hurt and pain, what do you do with all of that, to the steps that you need to take to get to the place that you need to get so that you can find your measure of peace, your measure of beauty in a life that is like totally messed up, as I'm sure most of you do know already. Now, in the B2B series, it is not a comprehensive teaching. What it does, it is that it highlights and it gives you pointers on how you can deal with some of the issues that you're dealing with. The time factor does not allow for the entire teaching process to occur. However, if you are interested in the teachings and knowing more after you've heard what you've heard, then you can always feel free to shoot me a message, and it just got to say B2B, and I will let you know what Broken to Beautiful packages we have scheduled. Today's topic deals with how to handle pain. Now, in life, we've all been there. We've all been hurt. We have been ridiculed, rejected. We've been through some traumatic situations in our life that sometimes it is just hard to not just forget, but it is hard to rise above. And it leaves us battling with all this pain. That's the first thing that you feel, is the pain. When something happens, if somebody slap your face, before you are horrified at how could they do such a thing to me, you feel the pain, you feel the sting of that slap first. So that is what you want to know. How do I first handle that pain? Now, some people might look to throw blows as their way of handling the pain, but that's more reaction than, an action that could bring you some good stuff. So when you're hurt, when you're broken, when things seem as if they just can't get any worse, and you have all this emotion, this feeling bottling up inside of you that you can't seem to get out, how do you handle that? Oh, one of the first things you don't want to do is run away. Now, it's the greatest temptation. Whenever something goes wrong, most times in my life, I find myself wanting to run. I want to separate myself from not just the object or the person that has caused me pain, the situation that has caused me pain. I want to be as far away as possible from my own feelings, if I could. So that's the first thing we do. And sometimes we may find ourselves, some people drink, some people may do drugs, some people might use sex. What they're trying to do is find pleasure to counteract the pain. But that's not actually handling your pain. When you're in that moment and you truly cannot escape what you're feeling, running away really doesn't help. So you're asking me now, so if I can't run away from it and I can't separate myself from the hurt that I'm feeling, what is it that I'm supposed to do? The first thing you really need to do is take a step back. And taking a step back is different from running away. Running away suggests I have no intentions of coming back to this place. I have no intention of dealing with this thing. I just want to be as far away as possible forever and ever and never have to face it again. A step back suggests that I understand that this thing is traumatic. I understand that this thing is hurtful. And I just want to make sure that I get myself out of here for a moment. That's what it is to take a step back. It is literally saying, I am hurting and I don't know what to do with this hurt. There's just too much pain and I don't know what to do with it. So you need to just step back a little in terms of mentally, emotionally. You do not keep replaying it over and over and over again in your brain. You stop that for a second, for a minute, for a day. But it's a short space of time that you will be stopping the thought process for, and that's not that easy. It is a bit tricky to kind of, when something has happened, to just turn it all off, but it is necessary. Throughout this series, one of the things you'll hear me emphasize a lot is discipline, because that is one of the things we fail to have, and that's one of the things that's going to save us the most. It is an untapped resource that we need to connect to and hold on to as if our life depends on it. Sometimes in the midst of pain, when it seems as if you're going stark raving mad, you need to shut those thoughts off. You need to not be reliving the incident. So you need to take a step back. A step back from it all. If it's a situation that's ongoing, if it's a person that's toxic, if it's a person that is hurting you, you need to give yourself some thinking space. So you need to step away from the situation. You need to step away from the thoughts. You need to step away from the environment. It is okay sometimes to separate ourselves so that we can save ourselves. So we don't run away from the pain and shove it somewhere and bury it and never look at it again. What we do is separate ourselves, give ourselves some breathing room so that that pain that is ricocheting through us, that we could just find some space from it. Because the more you stay connected to the source of the pain, is the more it's going to grow. So what you need to do is stop the growth of the pain. That's the first thing. It has happened. You've got to acknowledge, look, this thing has happened. I can't undo the scenario. I've been hurt. I feel thrashed. I don't know what to do. It has happened. Unfortunately, as unfortunate as that might be. So you separate yourself from the source of the pain. Anything that is connected to a source, it's like a tree connected to the roots. The more you stay connected to it, it's the more that it will grow. You will hear me use some of my experiences a lot to kind of emphasize a point. I remember when I faced divorce that the guy that I was married to, the longer that I stayed, I felt like it's the more my energy and my life was being sucked out of me. That's what it's like when you stay around pain. It's as if it sucks something out of you, but it causes it to keep growing. So that vacuum that seems to be pulling you in that hurtful space will keep growing if you stay connected to the source. So if someone is hurting you, if something is causing you pain, you need to separate yourself so that you can save yourself. That is one of the first steps. Well, that's two steps you have there actually. You become aware that it has happened. No need to beat yourself up over it. It has happened. You're hurting already. Beating yourself up just adds more pain to an existing pain. So take a step back. And like I said, it's not running away. It is giving yourself some room to disconnect from the source of the pain so that you can cut off the life force that's feeding that hurt. That's what you need to do. You need to cut off your life force that's feeding your pain. And you need to separate yourself first and foremost. You cut a tree off from its roots and that tree can't grow anymore, unless it's replanted somewhere and happen to sprout roots again. So you want to separate yourself from the root of the pain so that you can give yourself some breathing room. Another thing that I want to mention here is that you got to feel what you feel. One of the things we like to do is deny what we are feeling. You're hurt. You're hurt. Life throws us licks. Life does knock us down, beat us upside the head. And people say, oh, be strong. Some people have told me time and time again, suck it up. You know, and I cringe sometimes when I hear people telling that. I even hear parents sometimes telling children, you gotta suck it up. And I cringe at the thought of it. When people are hurt, it is okay to cry. It is okay to feel hurt. It is okay to say, look, this madness has happened to me. Give me my moment to cry. And no one should determine for you, look, but you cried yesterday, so why are you crying today? You need to feel what you're feeling. Denying the fact that you are crushed by something does not help you any. Acknowledging the fact that I am hurt, disappointed, angry. You go through the range of emotions that you're feeling. What it does is it brings it into focus. The things that are hidden. Whenever you try to hide or bury something, you cannot conquer it because you are not addressing it. You cannot conquer what you do not confront. Every battle that you want to win, and that includes the battle of pain, involves confronting it. So if you're hurt, you don't gotta get up there and go like, oh my goodness, I got this. No, I am hurt. You've got a right to be hurt, and you don't have to pretend to the rest of the world that, oh my goodness, no, that did not hurt me. If you've been in a relationship for however long and you have invested your time, your energy, maybe you even had kids, you had hopes and you made plans and you had goals together, and all of a sudden that comes crashing down around you, it's going to hurt and you're gonna be disappointed and you're going to feel a little bit lost and adrift. If you had a friend and that friend betrayed you, and it's going to hurt and you're going to feel a little bit lost and you're going to start questioning. It is okay to feel your pain. Just don't live forever in the pain. So that's three things in handling your pain. You want to acknowledge that the thing happened. Don't make sense to deny it. It did. You're lying to yourself from the get-go, and we cannot heal if we are lying. So truth is where we begin. It happened. You want to also make sure you separate yourself for a moment or two so that you can disconnect from the source of the pain. A lot of the time, though, it's internal thoughts that keep feeding it, and we've got to discipline ourselves to shut those thoughts off. And then you want to acknowledge the fact that whatever you're feeling, maybe you're hurt, maybe you're disappointed, maybe you feel betrayed, you want to acknowledge it. And lastly, this might sound a little bit oversimplified for some people, but you see, breathing, like consciously paying attention to your breathing, it helps you to control what you're feeling a lot of the times. And this is something that not only research supports, but I have worked with so many persons with. I do it myself, so I know that it works. Conscious breathing. When you step back and you're feeling in that moment the rage, the hurt, the pain bubbling up. Maybe it happened some time ago, and every time you think about it, it still brings back that hurt and that pain. What you want to do is make sure that you start to breathe. Oh my goodness, I cannot overemphasize enough. And I'm not just talking about just sitting there. I'm talking about paying attention to your breathing. I have a way of, when something has happened and it disturbs me, I get into my quiet space. I don't care, lock yourself in a bathroom if you need to. In the moment, when you feel that hurt coming up, you want to get into a quiet space. Even if you're sitting at your desk at work and you want to take some seriously, you go deep breath. And I always say, in with the positive, out with the negative. And I keep telling myself, it has happened. I can't change that it has happened. What will I do next? And I don't start thinking negative revenge or anything like that. I want to think positive. And so I start asking myself, what is good about today? What is good about you? And I start telling myself, you have a great family. You have this, you have that. You're beautiful. And you start speaking some positive. And on each one, I go like, I'm beautiful. Out with the negative. In with the positive. It's good to be alive. Out with the negative. And you want to pay attention to your breathing. And it might sound oversimplified, but there are many a times when we have reacted in hurt, in anger. If we had stopped to just take a breath, we would have realized just how much of a difference that stopping and that reinforcing positives helps to diminish the negative. The one way that you want to deal with hurt is to diminish it. And that is what we try to do. And like I said, running away ain't gonna do it. There have been times in my life that I felt so hurt that I felt like if I could find a way, just any way, to just get it out, almost as if, if you could spit water out and it all pours out, that's just what I would have done. These are techniques that are tried and true. So when you're in your moment where that pain keeps doing this and it feels like you're suffocating, you've got to take control. The thing that we need to remember is that as much as it seems as if the elements are out of our control, you are the one person that has control over you. You cannot control what has been. You can control what is now, and you can control what is to come. And when it comes to handling your pain, you've got more control over that than you can imagine. As a matter of fact, you probably got more control over your pain than you do over the incident that occurred. Life is tough. We get bumps and we get bruises, and life at times, quite frankly, gives us blows. And I would like to tell you all of a magic pill that could take away the hurt, but I'd be lying to you. It's like I tell all of the persons that I work with in life, if someone's offering you a magic pill, they're offering you a whole load of crap. But here's what I do know. I know of the miracle of loving yourself as if you are your ideal partner. I know of the miracle of taking control of what I'm thinking and feeling and learning the techniques and applying them so that I could move from a place where I feel less than and hurt and crushed to a place where I am conquering. I know of techniques and mannerisms and ways of becoming and tapping into myself beyond the pain, of aligning myself with the good in me so that I can find my beauty. So no, I cannot offer you a magical pill that will make pain disappear in a minute. But I can sure point out processes. And in the final analysis, you could believe and you can positive talk, but until you're ready to work, until you're ready to discipline yourself and put yourself together, it's not going to happen. You've got to love yourself more than anyone else will love you. Well, probably except God, because he's ultimate when it comes to love. But there isn't another human being that you should be depending on to take away your hurt, to take away your pain more than you. And throughout the month, I'm going to emphasize that over and over again. Your greatest success, your process begins here, begins today, and it begins with you. On the handling pain, there are so many more techniques, but time only allows me to bring you those few. So to reiterate, let me remind you of the 3 or the 4 the tips that I shared with you. Handling your pain. You're gonna feel hurt. You need to acknowledge that the incident happened. There's no need to deny it. You don't have to tell the world if you don't wanna, but you need to acknowledge that to you. Don't run away from the incident, but do separate yourself from the source of the pain for a time so that you can save yourself. You want to make sure that you allow yourself to feel what it is that has happened, your disappointment. Cry your heart out if you're necessary. And don't let anybody tell you, oh, but it's been a day already, 2 days already. Get over it. And don't let anybody tell you to suck it up and not show what you're feeling. Take your moments and feel what you're feeling. You see, when we start to numb down, we start to shut ourselves off and disconnect from what is real. And that is where we get lost. The last thing you want is to get lost in your pain, because it is like a maze, hard to find your way back. And when you're done feeling what you're feeling and you need to gain control of what you're feeling and of your thoughts, you want to consciously breathe. Inhale, exhale. Think positive thoughts. And it might sound simple, but you've got to try it before you knock it. I know that it works. Like I said, there are so many more tips and topics that I've got to share with you. If you're interested in hearing more, in working through your pain, make sure, just message me, and all you got to say in that message is B2B, and we will discuss some of the specials that I can offer to you to make sure that you go behind the pain that seems to be destroying you. We don't have to live hurt. We don't have to live at our destruction zone. We can move from our broken to our beautiful. Thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow as we go along on this amazing journey.